Hey friends, it's Pastor Joe. Good to be with you. Each year our church hosts a community celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we do it with having fifth grade essay winners read their essays about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We have community choirs that get together and sing. And we end with someone giving an excerpt of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s sermon, The Drum Major Instinct. We even have a real drummer that marches into the church drumming as the sermon is being read. It's a real nice community celebration. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Dr. King's Drum Major Instinct sermon. It's based off of Mark chapter 10, where James and John, the sons of Zebedee, asked Jesus to allow them to sit at his left and his right hand in glory. King says that there's a part of James and John in all of us. The part that wants to be important. The part that wants the glory. The part that wants to be first and lead the parade. Dr. King calls it the drum major instinct. King warns that if that instinct is perverted, it leads to selfishness and pride. King declares that a perverted drum major instinct will have you put others down so that you could lift yourself up. A perverted drum major instinct will lead you to believe that you are better than others, that you deserve the honor and the glory. This is my own thinking, but think about Lucifer. Lucifer had the role of honor. He was the lead choir singer of heaven, sitting at the right hand, and yet it perverted him until it got to the point where he thought he deserved the throne of God. Jesus responds to James and John and asks, "Do you know what you're asking from me? Can you drink the cup that I must drink from? Can you be baptized with a baptism that I must be baptized with?" Jesus is asking, can you suffer what I must suffer? Can you yield to what I must yield to? James and John declare that yes, they can and they will. The other disciples, they get upset when they hear what James and John have asked for. And Jesus tells all of his disciples that whoever would be greatest among you must be the servant of all. And whoever would be first must be last. Dr. King reminds us that Jesus doesn't scold James and John for asking. He just warns them the road will not be easy. But he inspires them and he tells them that if they want to be first, that they need to serve. Then Dr. King turns it towards us. And he says to us that it's all right to want to be first. But we should be first in love. We should be first in generosity. And we should be first in moral excellence. It is an absolutely incredible sermon. And even as I'm sharing with you about the sermon, I hear his voice echoing in my head, and I want to say it the way he said it, but I can't do him the justice of it. It's just incredible the way that he communicates with us. Well, this year, due to COVID, we couldn't host the Dr. King celebration. But on the day of King's celebration this year, as I reflected, I wrote a song. I'd like to close by sharing it with you today. It's called The Drum Major.
Love a parade, see the hands wave as the drum major leads the way. Everyone behind, get in line as he leads the way. Rum a tum tum, the beat of the drum keeps the rhythm in check. Left to right, left to right, left, right, left. Follow the drum major.
In 1968, Dr. King gave a sermon about a desire to be important. Called it the drum major instinct. It's the way that we think that we should be first and should run things. King said, don't suppress it. It's a good instinct that we harness and correct it. We know it's wrong to brag and it's wrong to nag, but ain't nothing wrong with using what you have. See, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And while a perverted instinct can knock you off course, you can march to the beat of a different drummer and use that drum major instinct to help one another.
I love a parade, see the hands wave as the drum major leads the way. Everyone behind, get in line as he leads the way. Rum-a-tum-tum, beat of the drum keeps the rhythm in check. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Follow the drum major.
The drum major instinct is God-given. God gave it to you so you can make a difference. Don't deny that instinct. Instead, rethink how to use it to be first and more excellence. See, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And while a perverted instinct can knock you off course, you can march to the beat of a different drummer and use that drum major instinct to help one another.
Be first to love, first to share, first to serve, first to care, first to peace, first to heal, first to grace,
and first to shed tears.
I love a parade, see the hands wave as the drum major leads the way. Everyone behind, get in line as he leads the way. Rum-a-tum-tum, beat of the drum keeps the rhythm in check. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Follow the drum major steps.
And every now and then I think about my own funeral. Every now and then I ask myself, what is it I was going to say? I leave the word to you this morning. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness.
I love a parade, see the hands wave as the drum major leads the way. Everyone behind, get in line as he leads the way. Rum-a-tum-tum, beat of the drum keeps the rhythm in check. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Follow the drum major steps.
Say that I was a drum major for justice.
Follow the drum major steps.